Welcome to another episode of the Everyday Game Changers podcast. I am your host, Barion McQueen, and you know how we do each and every week, talking to game changers in business, music, community, the arts, entrepreneurship, and more. And today's guest, Karla Destiny, is in the building. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
This is we already been talking off camera, so we're going to touch on some of those things. But like for the people that's not familiar with you, introduce yourself, where you from, just a little background.
Okay. Thank you. So my name is Karla. Everybody from my Instagram, I go by Karla Destiny. I am 27 years old. I'm Colombian, Puerto Rican, and Cuban. But
Wow.
I'm not crazy. Everybody looks at me when I say that, and they'll be like,
snap.
this one's nuts. But I'm not. I'm actually the most peaceful, understanding, loving person ever. I was raised here in Miami, born in North Carolina. I used to be the most introverted, shy, perfectionist, overthinking girl you can never think of. I can only hold conversations with my close friends. So if you were outside of my close friends, it was I would get super red.
Like anxiety-ish?
Yes, social anxiety, yes.
Wow.
But I didn't even recognize it until I was like, why is it so hard for me to put myself in new rooms and I wouldn't even say hi to you. And I'm not rude.
Right.
I just wasn't, I don't know, I wasn't able to create those conversations with new people.
What got you to the point where, was it like an aha moment that you just snapped out of it, or?
So I've always had jobs that was very corporate. Always worked in the office environment, corporate environment, over the phone. I always had my own little cubicle, so to myself. I would talk to my coworkers. That was fine.
Yeah.
But always went in, went out. High school, went to class, went home. You know, I was in cheerleading, but didn't even talk to anybody. I'm surprised people even knew who I was. Really? Just very quiet, very to myself. If you're my close friend, then yeah, I'm myself. I'm funny. I'm goofy, but not.
But no new friends.
Exactly, literally. Unless I felt your vibe and I felt okay, you have a good energy, good spirit, then okay, I'll make.
So is it like a walls come down type thing, or just?
I figured out that I used to be socially selective.
Good
one,
like that
right?
term
Yes.
though.
I was very
2023. I'm about to get very socially selective.
I was socially selective. And to answer your question, personal development changed me as a whole. It really gave me the courage to stop being so scared. Just speak my mind, and if people don't like it, then whatever.
Yeah.
In high school, I would know the right answer, and I would stay quiet because I was I don't want to get it wrong. What are people going to think about me?
Interesting.
Caring what other people thought too much. Not caring enough about what I thought. Even if I got the answer wrong, who cares?
Yeah.
So personal development, I have so many mentors that I listen to, YouTube, books. And this is all within the past year of my growth.
Really?
2 years, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What does personal development look like for you from the beginning? Starting, are you I seen you doing yoga and everything. Talk to me about all the different things of personal development that you're doing though.
So that's my favorite thing to talk about because it's what's helped me. I always say impact over income. And I was able to distinguish that because of personal development. I like the nice things. I want the nice lifestyle. But it's not just about that. It's about, expanding your mindset. And personal development to me is every day I start my day with listening to either an audiobook, a YouTube video, a podcast, or a sermon.
Wow.
I feel mind, body, spirit. So I'll try to work out. I eat good. But really, every single day, once I dive into personal development, we're all human. So I feel we're all going to have those times that we're going to feel defeated. Yeah. We're going to feel down. We're going to be negative. We're going to give up. Yeah. Sometimes you're going to feel lazy. You're going to feel discouraged. At least me. This is how I felt.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we're all human. That motivation doesn't stay. So I was okay, if I keep feeling discouraged over and over, the only thing that's going to help me is working on my mindset.
That's dope.
Because that is what's going to make you strong, even when you don't feel like doing something,
So if I look at your social media, these people will probably never believe that you had this.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Because if you scroll down, I still have my old stuff. You would see a girl that just posted perfect. And that's really who I was. Like, and I didn't realize it until I started Monet, right? That they opened up the doors to doing personal development.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because they're super big on personal development.
That's
We
dope.
had a convention back in September. We had Tony Robbins there. So, you know, they're super big on that. So once I started the business and I was like, why is everyone so positive? Like,
Yeah.
why are these people selling books? Like, why are we doing training calls on mindset? Like, what? You know, what other job do they do that?
Right.
So that
So
was
the
what
culture of that.
It's the culture of
Wow.
what I do that I love it so much.
That's dope.
You know? But if you scroll down to my Instagram, you would just see a modeling picture, a perfect picture with a girl with makeup on.
Right.
Maybe sometimes with no makeup. I always like to be authentic.
Got it.
But for the most part, a perfectionist is what you saw.
So now, because social media plays a big role, like I tell people, the social media thing is like the highlight reel, right? Nobody really pulls the curtain back,
and that was me.
Really.
And that was me. And I'm so glad that my journey has developed me to becoming I don't care what anybody has to say.
Right.
You know, I have an amazing testimony with my hair products that I share my hair products because I had the worst hair. So, you know, sometimes like I don't want to post my bald spot on Instagram, you know?
That's crazy.
But I think, man, if whoever posted, you know, I'm back to my story, whoever was able to help me with my bald spot, it was through Instagram. So imagine how many women I can help by being vulnerable and sharing my story. Even if it means I don't get 1 million views, 1,000 likes, like I have an impact because one person is going to be like, wow, Karla helped me with that.
That's fine.
Because she wasn't worried about looking perfect or doing it for the gram, doing it for the likes, you know?
That's dope because like, so right at the end of 2022, I started a nonprofit organization called Save the Creatives. And when I hear this term, impact over income, is this like the whole thought process behind me starting this. Yeah. I'm like, yo, I've made really good money, but how many people's lives did I change? How many people did I affect? Yeah. And it was just like, oh, I'll live a comfortable life. Am I rich? Not rich, but I don't price check when I go to the grocery store, right?
Exactly. And you know what? That I love that because success could mean something different to everybody.
Yeah,
and
100%.
for a while, I would be like, well, that means you must have a lot of money and you know this but then I was like, no, like it's always going to be impact over income because the income's going to come
100%.
But if you're doing it just for the income, then there's no fulfillment there.
Yeah. So how are you introduced to like this big brand of Monet? Like I feel like this is a culture in itself.
It is. It really is.
How are you introduced to it though?
Instagram. I was scrolling on my social media. I was working the health insurance job. And I was like, I was doing good in that job, making money, right? Yeah. But when money's not everything and you're not happy and you feel empty, it's like, so I'm scrolling and I'm struggling with my hair. I'm struggling with my bald spots. And I run into a before and after picture of a girl that had hair thinning and she also had bald spots. And I was like, wait, and I see an after picture of her with luxurious hair, like super pretty hair. And I was like, I need this, you know? So I told the girl, I was like, I need this, like, get me the products. I started originally for the hair care products. So I wasn't in the business. As I saw that the products worked for me, I was like, okay. So I followed the girls that did it because a lot of girls went to my school. One girl in particular that went to my school, I came across her page, and she was just like me, an introvert, shy, a perfectionist, very to herself. And I saw she became a millionaire. And she didn't come from anything. Right. You know, I saw her, like, we were close in high school. Yeah. So I said, how is it that a girl that has the same personality as me, somebody I think that I would always say, I would never do that. Right. I was one of those. I was like, I would never do that. I was like, I am not talking on my Instagram story. I'm not posting anything. But when I saw that she was doing stuff that, to me back in the day, I was like, why would she post that? You know?
So it made it possible now you seeing somebody.
And so it hit home because I was like, if she can do it, and it wasn't about the millionaire because I didn't even know that yet. Right. I saw her living a life of freedom. And I've always wanted more since I was a little girl. You know, my dad always told me, like, you can do anything you put your mind to, so why limit yourself? So when I saw her, like, she was able to retire her mom. You know, she had just graduated to become a nurse, left that behind. spend more time at home with her kids. You know, she got out of like $70K debt. I was like, what? Like, she was living in this beautiful penthouse in Miami.
Wow.
And she was like so sweet too, you know? And I was just like, if she can do it, and there's so many other people that are so successful. And the best part is not even about the success. It's more of just like the lifestyle. Like, why would I want to go in and work for somebody else? And you as an entrepreneur, you know, like, how good does it feel to wake up and be like, I don't have to report to anyone today? You know?
I tell people the price for flexibility is priceless, right? So I try to get, I'm doing a terrible job at it this year. I try to pick one day out of the week where I just go to the beach. This was
God, I've been dying to do that.
This was the whole purpose of moving to Florida. I moved here in 2013 from Delaware.
Wow.
No plan what I was going to do when I came here with a car full of sneakers and a laptop. Like
risk taker.
It was just like, I got to figure something out. But what I used to see, it was an energy in Miami that just like people hustling, trying to figure it out, right? And that was inspiring to me. And I'm like, oh,
me too.
If I could get to Miami, like, I'm going to figure it out, right? So I probably wouldn't have been able to do all the businesses that I do now back home. I just felt like
Miami's
it breeds some hustlers, different. Right?
Yeah.
Things move differently, so
it's very fast paced.
Yeah. So I think that aspect of your story is what I tell a lot of people about social media, because everybody's stuck on the algorithms and how much this engagement is. And it's just like, yo, imagine if you just really just shared your truth.
Right?
One person is all you need to hear.
Yeah. So I always tell my team, I'm like, you know, who cares if you get 50 views? Who cares if you get 4 views? Yeah. Because one person of those 4 views, you can be changing their life.
100%.
So I'm glad. I say this now, but me 2 years ago, forget it. If I got like little views, I'd be like, delete.
And then you know, like, try that again.
Yeah, because you're so self-conscious, you know, but when you're like focused and you have tunnel vision and you're genuinely concerned on helping others and serving others, that's like, you know, that's like the least of your concerns.
So when you go from like, so give me Karla right after high school. What is Karla's doing? What is she like? I'm going to go to college. No, I'm not going to go to college.
I did go to college.
Okay. What did you go to college for?
I went to college for psychology.
Really?
I love people. I wanted to study people. I wanted to help. I've always been a helper. I've always wanted to help other people. I had one more class to get my AA. And something in me said, I don't want to do this.
Wow.
Like, and I'm telling you, I've always had something in me that's like, I want more. Like, I want to run my own business. Like,
that's dope.
I want to be in control of my controllables.
Right.
You know? So, and I would be like, they make how much? Like, you know, and I was just like, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, for people. I feel like everyone has their calling. And like I said, everyone has their definition of success. But me personally, that's not the route that I wanted to go. Yeah.
I went to University of Delaware. I maybe had one more year to graduate. I just dropped out. But the bad part about this is I've always been a straight A student.
Wow.
I was a bad student, but I still always had straight A's because school was easy to me. But it wasn't easy to me because I was a great studier. I had a good memory. So I would cram.
Oh, not me.
I would cram literally the night before stuff. Take the test, ace the test, and the next day I couldn't remember none of the stuff I studied. I took Spanish 7 years, still can't speak Spanish, right? So I was just a good test taker, and it was always my thing about, yo, the school system's rigged.
Yeah.
This is not set up for people.
Yeah. Yeah. I just went to an event the other day. Grant Cardone was there.
Okay.
And he was just like, it was one of them, him or Ed Milet, were saying, in school, did they teach you about becoming a business owner?
Never.
Did they teach you about taxes?
Never.
And I was like, no, they didn't.
Christopher Columbus and everything else you don't care about.
And I was like, man, like, you know, I really had to learn all of these things as I got older.
Yeah. My most important subject in school, all I cared about was math. Because I was a money guy.
Yeah, my worst subject.
I'm just like, yo, I don't care about English. I don't care about science. I did like gym a little bit, but math was my thing. I'm like, how do I get to the money?
I wish I was your friend in high school.
Yeah. How do I get to, I mean, I used to sell the candies. I mean, from like fourth grade.
From the get.
I was a candy hustler selling the penny candies and the sugar straws.
Me too. I worked since I was 15.
Yeah, see that? So it's just like, but the school system, I just feel like school is not school don't prepare you for the real world, right?
No.
School is like,
No.
we're going to give you some information. If you can remember it for the test, you are a good student. But you're not really learning nothing you're going to use in real life.
That sucks. And that's why I'm always encouraging people that I meet, personal development. Every call that I do, I'll be like, these are the books I recommend. Because it's changed me. So I,
What you reading right now?
Right now I just finished The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. I don't know if you read that one.
I never read that. Psychology of Selling. I love the title, though.
It's so good. It's more than just like sales. It's just in general, I love The Power of One More by Ed Milet.
I love Ed Milet.
So I saw him the last week in the event. He was so good. Doesn't talk about money. Doesn't talk about anything.
A lot of mindset stuff.
Mindset,
right?
The core of everything.
So when I think, like you're in that health insurance space, and then I'm pretty sure you made good money in health insurance, but it was just like,
I didn't feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they had said, I was killing it. Yeah. For a girl, I would have guys come behind me and like take notes to learn from me.
Wow.
And they were like, Karla, like, do you have the potential to become a manager here? And it was the same structure as what I do now, network marketing. You're selling a product, you're growing a team. So they said, you can just grow a team. You can have a girl team here. And I'll never forget when they told me that. Something in me, I was like, I don't want this,
Wow. What's the hardest part about growing a team? Because this is one thing, me as an entrepreneur, it's just hard to find good employees, good people. So the team building aspect, like this is what we have here. This is just, everybody here is their own individual business. Dorenia owns her own lash studio, and Angel works for some big dogs, and then I do my thing. But as a collective, this collab thing is a team. We kind of just like-minded individuals just building something. But it was hard to get this stuff.
It's hard.
So
it is hard.
How many? Your team now? How do you get people to get on board? Like, you know what, Karla just got me. I'm ready to go.
People don't really believe in themselves, but once people see that you believe in you, that's when it changes. And it took me a while. So when I started Monet, I still wasn't mentally strong as I am now.
Got it.
That's where the personal development came in, because I knew I wanted it. And I see the difference of the insurance. I was like, man, I had my time here and I killed it. I also started, the insurance was slow. I was like hard on myself because it was sales, strictly commission for 2 years.
Really?
Made it happen. Strictly commission. No hourly, no nothing. And I still made money. But so as I went on, whatever, I actually did bottle service after that. I don't know.
I seen you.
Yeah, my video.
Holding the sign. I seen it. Yes.
That was after my insurance because it was also sales. So I was like, okay, this is kind of not similar. It's completely different industries, but I just saw like sales related. But back to growing a team. When people see that you believe in yourself, that's when and you're consistent. Yeah. Me with social media and in person, because if I see like you're in need of a good opportunity, I'll be like, why don't you do this with me? Yeah. Like you're already on Instagram, like you're already on TikTok, like just try it. Yeah. But it's hard. I think as long as you're consistent and you have a goal and a strategy and you have faith, because I'm very faith-based, I feel like you got it, So
I never seen nobody really target men with Monet.
There's men that do the business.
Really?
See, me, my Instagram, I was always posing in bikinis, right? Not like rated R, but I was
clickbaitish.
Yes. And I didn't realize that at the moment. I just said, okay, I want to build on Instagram. And, I was working with some people. They're like, here, like, we're going to go to the beach. So I'll be, okay, let me bring a bikini. I didn't see it as that, but my audience was only male audience. So when I started Monet, I was like, guess who was hitting me up for products? I'm like, come on, like I'm trying to have a girl audience, even though the products are amazing for men. Yeah. But I was just like, I'm trying to build my female audience. So that was really hard for me. That's something I don't really talk about a lot. But I'm glad, I get to share it now for anybody that feels like, oh well, I just don't have the audience for it. Like you can do it. Just focus on what you need to do. Like Instagram has all the tools for you to see like, okay, the other day I got happy because I saw my audience has shifted from the male audience, and now it's more of a female audience, which,
You on the women empowerment train.
Yes.
It's not the thirsty guy
Yes,
train. Got it.
So I'm proud of myself because, it's hard to shift your audience.
100%. So would you say, like, is most of your team female?
Yeah.
How do people find, like, because it's almost like you still got to sell, right? You want to get people involved and you want to present them with the opportunity.
Yeah.
So how do you target who's the right fit for your team, though?
That's also very difficult because not everyone is strong-minded. But I think about myself because I'm somebody that I don't like giving up on people. Sometimes, though, you have to, like, set boundaries, too, because it's like if they don't want it, you can't want it more than them.
Got it.
I feel like I try to, because people buy people, right? So that's why I try to show my true authentic self, and that's what attracts so many people.
I see you with makeup, just like, yo, hair up, what's up, Instagram, like.
Yeah, and before I couldn't do that, so now I'm grateful to be like, yo, like, this is me, and if you don't like it, then unfollow me.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I feel like, so I've really relaunched, I would say, my personal brand in 2018, just like. People knew me from the music industry, but I was trying to get away from the persona of the people that knew me from rap. And I'm like, because the people that I was trying to get to, the business people, they didn't care about none of that stuff, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just completely rebrand. I'm going to go by my name. And it was the hardest thing ever.
It's hard.
But it was just like, it was necessary, right? So now the audience that I've built of these people that want to get into entrepreneurship, people that maybe they have this 9 to 5, but they got a little side hustle that they want to replace that 9 to 5 with.
I love when people have that job, but they're still doing something for them on the side. I love that.
People think I'm anti 9 to 5, and I just say,
no,
I've never been anti 9 to 5. It don't work for me.
Yeah.
Because once I quit working for a company, I started to look at money different.
Oh, yeah.
So when I used to work for a company and I was only making $60,000 a year, well, after taxes, I was making $900 a week, and I'm just like, that's only $190 a day.
Yeah.
Now with my real estate photography company, I make that in 45 minutes. So it's like I don't look at money the same.
Yeah, I think jobs. I feel like at the end of the day, the jobs that we've had are necessary, though, because you've learned from it. And at least me, every job I've had, because I've had a lot, I've put my foot in almost every door. It taught me a different skill set.
Got it.
So it's important. And I think it's not that we're, anti 9 to 5. It's just like you can do so much more.
Got it. So I have an argument with my wife because in my mind, I feel like every person can be an entrepreneur, right? So my wife tells me, because I'm in this space, right? You live with the guy that does this. Why don't you do this? Is my argument to her. And she brought up a point, and she was like, everybody's not meant to be entrepreneur, because without great leaders under entrepreneurs, how do you build teams? So she says, I'm more of a leader. I will work for an entrepreneur and lead and manage and delegate, but I don't want the pressure of being the person that's it's a different kind of pressure.
It's
like,
hard. I
you focus on people's livelihoods and you know what I mean? So
I understand her perspective.
So 100%. I try to show a little empathy, and I'm like, hopefully you'll come around one day, but if not, you made your point.
Well, I feel like even working for an entrepreneur is hard because they need so many different things done.
I wouldn't want to work for me. I'm just like, my phones go off craziest. I want to just throw them someday, but it's just like, it's me and I got to figure it out. But I'm responsible for people's livelihood. So that's a different pressure that people don't see. Yeah. Because this whole entrepreneurship lane is a lot of lifestyle marketing, right?
Oh my God.
Yachts and boats and Lambos and penthouses. And it's just
I know Grant Cardone was saying there's no such thing as bad attention. He has said that.
I learned a lot from Grant. I met Grant when he did his 10X at the what's the Marlins Stadium.
Oh, is that where he came off like through?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't there, but I saw it.
So he jumps out of this helicopter and the attention aspect of that. And then he auctioned off his parachute thing. Somebody bought it for like 30 grand cash right at the event.
Yeah.
And I'm
I've
just
heard
like,
almost all his books.
but he always says, yo, it's not the best, it's the most known.
Yeah.
So I found Grant Cardone because I used to see his 10X conference billboards every couple miles down 95. And I'm like, who is this guy? And that's when I just was like, I got to take my personal brand up.
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard the book, Be Obsessed or Be Average.
I heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's an amazing book. That book really taught me, like, do more. You know, like sometimes I'll be like, man, like this is not working. I'm not, attracting the right people. And then I'll hear his book and he's like, so what? He's like, I post on Instagram like 5 times a day. And I'm just like, you know what? He's right.
He's
like,
right.
I'm going to do one more.
That's it.
So I always think about that. And I'm just like, you know what? If something's not working, do more.
He told me, and just for their 10X growth conference, they sent out 2 million emails.
Yeah.
He said people would unsubscribe from our email list.
He doesn't
and
care.
We'd sign them right back up. And I'm just like, Grant is a different beast, but it's that level of persistence that got him.
And your hunger. Yeah.
Yo, he's
your hunger level.
At his level, he's still hungry.
He's
so
still
it's just
hungry.
like, yo, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because people may think, oh well, he was just born successful. Like he was a drug addict.
Yeah, his story is powerful.
You know?
Yeah.
All these super successful people have amazing stories and stories that you wouldn't think, like E.T.
Yeah.
He was sleeping in his car for so long. So when I hear all these people that I love and I'm like, wow, like sometimes I think, oh, they just have it good.
Yeah.
And then you hear their stories and you're like, wow, like if they came from that, like they came from nothing.
100%. What's your worst job ever?
My worst job?
Because you said you did a lot. You kicked a lot of doors. What's the
did.
worst one you can remember?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I feel like I've learned something in every single one. I would say maybe retail.
Retail?
Well, I was super young though, like Aeropostale.
Okay.
Like working in the mall.
That space?
Yeah.
I used to be the cart guy at the grocery store.
Really? But
I took this role.
You were a hustler.
I took this role so serious.
Yeah.
That when people would call me the cart guy, I would get pissed. I'm like, yo, it's not cart guy. I'm parcel pickup. That's what it says on the back of my vest.
You are serious.
This is parcel pickup. But the general manager of the supermarket was so cool. He would say, yo, Barion, as long as there's enough carts in front, I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, take this money and go run the Red Lobster and get us some nice lunch. And he would always let me keep the change. So I'm like, man, this was the most graviest job. And they had like, you get some equity in the company. Like they have 401k. I'm like, why did I give up that grocery store job? But that was my funnest job. That and I used to do loss prevention at Kmart. So I was the guy stopping all the drug addicts from stealing the bikes. And that was my funnest job because I did not know what criminal I was going to meet that day.
Man,
they done pull knives on me, try to tase me. But it was like, it was my taste of being a cop without being a cop.
Right?
Without being a cop.
You're like, okay, do I really want to do this?
So it's like I can stop a kid from stealing candy, or I'll stop somebody's grandmother who's stealing the wine from the beer section. But it was my funnest job. And now I'm getting to a point now that I've been lately just like asking myself, what is retirement going to look like for me?
Yeah, I think about that all the time.
Where are you going to retire to?
Right? Hopefully. Where am I going to retire to?
Yeah, you going to stay here and retire?
Oh, man, I would love to travel.
Okay.
I would love to travel. That's my dream.
Traveling.
Even with Monet, they pay for our trips.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm just hoping to be traveling everywhere.
So this Monet thing, tell me, like, when I first seen the Monet, I thought it was like it was just something for like influencers that had a big following.
No,
and
absolutely not.
I start seeing everybody with the Cadillac truck with the big ribbon,
Absolutely
and I'm like,
not,
what is this Monet thing?
So it was funny because I had posted on TikTok. I don't know if you use TikTok, but somebody had commented like, well, that's only because you're successful because you're pretty, or only pretty girls, or something like that. And I don't pay attention to negativity.
Do you feel that?
No,
Okay.
Absolutely not. I feel like it's harder
When you're pretty.
Yeah. Because I'm like,
I've never heard that.
Me? Like,
you think so?
I mean, I'm not cocky, I'm not at all. I'm like far from cocky, but I'm just like, is it because like people are intimidated, like, because everybody tells me I don't see myself as anything, you know. Obviously I see myself as, yes, confident and powerful, but I don't see myself higher than anybody, is what I'm trying to say, you know. So my mentor in the beginning, she'll be like, well, maybe you're looking a little too intimidating to people, because I was still showing up as, you know, always dressed up and always, yes, my modeling. And I would try to incorporate my modeling into my stuff. So now I feel like I've toned it down a bit. I'm more like, hey, hair up, no makeup. Exactly. And I've attracted a lot of people. I've shown my before and afters of me at the bottle service. That blew up because all the bottle girls are like, I want out, you know, like I need to do this too. Telling my story. But yeah, it was.
How is that? I never understood the, and my mind just works that I'm always trying to figure out the business and stuff. How does the bottle service industry, like, I don't know how it works. Like, I had one of my guys, Johnny Cash, he was like a club promoter. So he was giving me the ins and out of how club promoters work. Cause I'm like, yo, if you just get all the pretty girls in free, how do you make money, right?
Yeah.
And he broke down this like.
Oh yeah, I was so confused too. But yeah, promoters make money based off like the amount of girls that they bring, and they have to stay for a certain amount of time. So that was my first. I worked at Mr. Jones.
Okay.
So that was my first real club job.
Okay.
And I like kind of like painted a white lie. I was like, oh yeah, I used to do this. I mean, I had like jobs in Wynwood, but it was nothing compared to this club. You know, it was like an official club. But I was just like, this is the closest thing to like not going to like a 9 to 5 and just like 4 hours, I'm done. You make money. It's sales. It's based on my performance. So I did it. And man, the things that you see in there.
In the club.
It's like, and people would feel my spirit and they'll be like, you don't belong here. Almost everybody would tell me that.
Really?
Yeah. And it was funny, the first 2 weeks, remember I was very soft-spoken. I came from insurance sales over the phone. So I'm used to sales over the phone. And these are big policies, like $1,000 policies. And I'm getting your billing info. But to me, it's over the phone. If, you know, I can just hang up on you if you're rude or whatever. But now in person, you know, the bottles were expensive. And the tip wasn't included in the bill. We only got like a very small percentage of the tip. So it was your responsibility to say, hey, you know, we only get like a certain amount of percentage here.
You got to sell that to the.
You have, and then imagine like the service charge was already expensive. So half the time people thought I was lying about not getting the tip.
It's already high. I'm not very tip extra.
So the first 2 weeks, I was like, I'm not made for this. Like, and I remember I met one of my friends. She's actually like my sister now. And I'm like, babe, like I'm quitting. Like I can't do this. I would go up to people and usually you have to say, hey, tips not included. I would go up to people and be like, here, sign. And I would not say anything because I was so shy. That's when I had started with Monet. I started with Monet while I was doing the bottle servicing. So mind you, I'm telling you, I was still not as mentally strong yet to speak up for myself, you know? So people would put 0. And for like a week, I didn't make any money at the bottle service. And my friend was like, you're doing it wrong. So she told me, she's like, you have to speak up. If not, people are not going to know.
Wow.
It was tough. Yeah.
That is.
It was tough.
That's my brain. I'm always trying to figure out these little.
Of course, yeah.
Like I used to have friends that worked in a strip club, and my brain should probably just be looking at women or eating chicken wings. But I was just like, so how's everybody getting paid here, right? Like I see the bouncer. They like, oh, you know, the DJ. He got to get paid, and then we got to pay the house mother. And until we pay the house mother, any dollar we make, we don't make nothing until the house mother gets her fee. And I'm just like,
ever since working at, you know, the service industry, now I'm like, anywhere I go, I tip like the most that I can.
Because you know.
Yeah, because I know.
Got it.
Yeah.
What, like a sales position though, that's tough working commission only. Is that intimidating? Like, yo.
In the insurance industry?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so tough.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had somebody that I worked with that he was like the #1 sales agent. So I would sit right next to him and he would teach me. Like I would learn from him. Like I would work Monday through Sunday. I was hungry. Yeah. Wow. I was like, I need to do this. Like I need to prove to myself that I can do this. Because I had never done sales before. Yeah. Even though in Grant Cardone's book, he says like, we're all salespeople. We're always trying to sell our point of view. You don't realize it when it's not. We don't realize it, but we are. But it was intimidating, and almost for like almost a year, it was so hard for me to close a deal. Really? But I didn't give up, and I became one of the best ones.
That's dope. When I think sales, I'm like, man, I could never be a car sales guy or I probably in my mind I could never do anything that was commission only. I'm like, look, I need a salary. Oh yeah. And anything else is bonus or whatever. Yeah. But it's just like that's tough. A different kind of.
It's tough,
Hustle.
but it feels amazing when you know you did it.
Yeah.
You know, and you accomplished it. I remember people would like, I would get to the billing part of the insurance and
Yeah.
I would click and I would like cry.
After you did your
And I would be
terms
like,
and
"This is-"
disclosures.
yeah. And they'll be like, okay, I need your billing information to
my
close the deal,
gosh.
you know, to submit your insurance, and click, they'll hang up on me.
See, I'm
Almost an hour on the phone.
I've been working on in 2023. I've been working on what I call the build up.
Yeah.
My wife tells me I'm just 0 to NASCAR. Like, I don't have no gradual build up. Like, yo, you know, build up to that. But I'm just like 0 or I'm to 100. Like, so
Yeah.
I'm working on my build up,
I love
because that would have pissed me off.
Oh,
if
yeah.
Somebody
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, let me
And
write
that's where
that
your
number
mindset
down
comes in.
personally. I'm gonna call him from my cell phone later. Like, yo, when this call not being recorded, like, yo, bro, man, made me
Yeah.
do that whole call. And
Yeah, but you know what it taught me though? I would follow up with them. And sometimes like people that would hang up or would say no, I never gave up and I would always follow up with them and I would end up closing them.
I was gonna ask you,
Yeah.
give me a sales tip. One little gem that you've
Follow
learned.
up.
The follow up.
Follow
right?
up. And
That's dope.
people buy people.
I love that.
Yeah. So sharing your story and follow up is so good. 'Cause sometimes people are busy. You
Yeah.
know, like you think that they care so much about what it is that you're talking about or something. They don't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, it's like they buy happiness. So if you're selling that, fine. But if you, regards to like closing and stuff, if you're not able to close right away, follow up with somebody. You know, it doesn't hurt.
Where's Karla? I used to say, where's Karla 5 years from now, but I feel like everything happens so fast.
Right.
What's 2 years from now? Where you want to
2
be?
years from now, like I know you're telling me about your real estate. My goal is to buy my first investment property.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's my goal. But I definitely want to master my own craft right now. I still have so much growing to do. You know, I want to help as many girls as I can. So I'm really just focused, but I know once I grow and hopefully I build a team globally, because we're not just in United States,
Right.
you know, we're in like 7 other countries.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
that.
I'd want to grow globally, expand, help as many people as I can, and eventually just be able to focus on getting an investment. That's like my number one thing, like
Investment
being able
property.
to have my own investment property and like build wealth off that, you know, build generational wealth that like I can say like I did it, like I'm proud of myself.
That's dope.
You know, that's one of my goals.
All right, so with this space, this platform that I have here, plenty of entrepreneurs, plenty of people that like, you know, they got a good idea and they just never started, or they just scared, or they like, oh man, I'm cool with the comfortability of a 9 to 5. What's one piece of advice you could give to that person that's like, I want to do what Karla did. I want to leave the insurance company
Right?
and find
The
my
bottle
thing. You know what I
service,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you could leave them with?
I would say feed your mind. Because it wasn't until I started feeding my mind that I started to believe that I was able to achieve anything. And never take advice from somebody that you wouldn't trade places with. I
Love that.
live by that, because there was so many times that people are like, you're going to sell shampoo?
Oh, snap.
Yeah. Or they'll be like, you know, does that even work?
Right.
Like, those products don't work. Or, you know, what are you doing? I know I look crazy sometimes to people, but I don't care. You
I
know,
love that.
because I'm like, okay, do they have the life that I want? No. Bye.
Right.
You know,
Love that.
people like my mentor, and people I even listen to, Jim Rohn, you know, Steve Harvey, Ed Milet, so many people, they'll be like, if, you know, don't take advice from those people because they're not in the journey that you are in. So yeah, you can't go getting 2 cents from everybody.
Right.
As much as 'cause I have so many people I love and I'm
Yeah,
friends
yeah, yeah.
with, and I want to share my goals and my vision with them.
Yeah.
But if they don't have the same vision as you, then you got to keep your goals to yourself sometimes and just really settle down, write down your goals, and really study whoever is successful in whatever industry you want to go ahead and master,
Yeah.
and study them. What do they do? You know, what is their morning routine?
Yeah.
Like, are they going out? Are they drinking? You know, are they staying in? Are they reading?
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'll study the people that I want their results.
Told y'all.
And I'm like, I need to like settle down. I need to stop going out. You know, I need to read more. If I'm getting discouraged easily, I need to feed my mind and just, you know, level up completely.
I love that, man. Well, I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, some great gems, and a lot of that stuff was stuff I was doing. It was the people that I looked at, I reverse engineered.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they're doing this. And when I got in that entrepreneur space, it was some of those guys, the Ed Milet's, the Grant Cardones, the Ty Lopez, Gary V's, the Tony Robbins, all of these guys, and I really just
Jim Rohn.
yeah,
He's my favorite. Yeah.
and I'm just like, yo, I kind of just like, well, what are all these guys doing? And
Yeah.
I literally followed everything they did, man. I wrote a book. I did everything that these guys
and
was
YouTube,
doing.
you know, YouTube is like, I pay for YouTube because I don't like the commercials.
Really?
Yeah. So I pay for it.
I never heard nobody say they actually pay for the YouTube.
I pay for YouTube and Audible because I like, you know, I don't like any interruptions. I don't listen to music anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So Jim Rohn always says, turn your car into a audio library. Something like that, he says. Wow. So I did. And I promise you, my last album on my phone is like Drake's album from like months ago.
I know you was gonna say Drake. Drake's the guy.
I mean, whatever. I wasn't even a big fan of that album, but yeah, that's how you know that album's super old.
Wow.
So I have no new music. Well, there's nothing wrong with music. You know, I'll listen to it, but I'm just like, this is not helping me grow, and I always want to keep growing.
Love that.
You know, so yeah, I turn your book into a mobile library. You know, grow, study the profession that you want to perfect, and be the best at it.
That's dope.
So,
well, I appreciate you.
I appreciate
definitely
being here.
game changing. Definitely gave me some gems. We're gonna put all your information below. You've been tuned into another episode of the Everyday Game Changers podcast. This episode definitely was no different. Karla Destiny, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.